What's up? What's up? What's up? Got the little microphone over here. See how this works. Um, Here's another book. Oh shit! Just got a text message. Anyways, there's another book. This one's called "The Genesis 6 Conspiracy" by Gary Wayne. This one's called "How Secret Societies and the Descendants of Giants Plan to Enslave Humankind." Let me read the back real quick. There are giants among us, passing largely unnoticed, intent on carrying out a secret plan to enslave all humanity. They may not look like giants today, but their bloodlines extend all the way back to the Nephilim, the offspring of angels who mated with human women, described in Genesis 6 when the giants were roaming the land. Gary Wayne, author of the Genesis 6 Conspiracy, How Secret Societies and the Descendants of Giants Plan to Enslave Humankind, details the role of modern day Nephilim in Satan's plan to install the Antichrist at the end of days. When God casts the angel Lucifer and his followers out of heaven, Lucifer set into motion a scheme to ensure the Nephilim survived. Why? Because from the bloodlines of these Nephilim, the Antichrist will come. To keep his plan alive, Satan has enlisted the loyalty of secret societies such as the Freemasons, the Templars, the Rosicrucians to conspire in teaching a theology and a history of the world that is contrary to the biblical one. This Genesis 6 conspiracy marches towards the Great Tribulation, when then loyalty of the terminal generation, this generation will be tested. The Bible, along with many other ancient sources, clearly records the existence of giants. Wayne provides copious citations from many society insiders, along with extensive Bible references, other religious references, and historical material to bolster this contention. What he uncovers will astonish you, and it will challenge you to prepare for the fulfilling of God's promises. Gary Wayne is a Christian contrarian who has maintained a lifelong love affair with biblical prophecy, history, and mythology. His extensive study has encompassed the Bible and Gnostic scriptures, the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita, Gilgamesh, and other ancient epics, language, etymology, and secret society publications. Yeah, this book is thick. This book is like 2 inches thick. So I'm gonna read this chapter called "The Alien Phenomenon." You know what I'm saying? All right. So the alien phenomenon, chapter 48. Babylon was a gold cup in the Lord's hands. She made the whole earth drunk. The nations drank her wine. Therefore, they now have gone mad. That's Jeremiah 51, chapter 51, verse 7. Such diabolical schemes of deception would not be complete unless they totally confused and manipulated the modern mind with fantastic delusions. So, what kind of fantastic delusions might we look for? Let us first begin with the alien phenomena, the picture perfect, state of the art deception designed for a dissonant generation. Unprecedented waves of UFO sightings and abductions increase exponentially every few years. We are also experiencing unprecedented and increasing waves of literature and entertainment promoting the acceptance of such notions. Our collective attitudes on a global scale have been altered dramatically in such matters over the last 50 years. This kind of global brainwashing will continue until our collective minds are completely prepared for deception. Since the dawn of the space age, public perceptions and opinions have reached critical mass, and statistics suggest that more than 50% now believe alien life forms both exist and interrelate with us on a regular basis. In less than one complete generation, we have become voluntarily predisposed to accepting an inevitable formal encounter with alien beings from around the universe, where we then will take our rightfully reserved chair at the table of governing galactic species, just as in the Star Trek or Babylon 5 tradition. Hollywood tends to set forth a set of ideals about aliens, primarily that they will provide humankind with a new, secret, and increasing knowledge in the tradition of mysticism and a closer, intimate relationship with the universal life force. We are about to dawn a new age of peace and prosperity. We are at the precipice of a monumentous quantum leap in our evolution. We are about to morph, as New Age philosophy would like to phrase it, vibrate into a higher plane of existence through the discipline of reason over our exploding knowledge. The promise they promise an age where people will only be concerned with achieving enlightenment, immortality, an age where truth of Brahma will come from heaven and will be led by a future Buddha, Lord Maitre. I don't know how to say that. Yeah. Anyways, in other words, we will experience our final triumph over the knowledge gained in Eden by Adam and Eve when they ate from the tree of Gnosis. These alien messages exude mysticism and New Age doctrine. We are led to believe that we have misunderstood the enlightened commission of Jesus. They profess Jesus was merely ahead of his time, sent forward to guide, sent forward as a guide to our destiny. That Jesus had already attained the gift of harnessing the power of knowledge as an example for the world, and that Jesus was not professing to be the Messiah and Son of God. Gnostics attempt to lead us to believe that the so called joint Essene message of Jesus and John the Baptist was to proclaim all would evolve into gods once they learned and mastered the mystical secrets remembered as the way, just as they had. These mystical secrets of the universe are what the aliens, angels, are here to provide humankind, just as they provided illicit knowledge from heaven to the descendants of Cain. All of this, of course, is affirmed in a very polite and politically correct environment, but understand this is still the dissonant doctrine of the Antichrist, sponsored by fallen angels that denies Jesus is the Christ. Another underlying message resonating from our future alien-filled destiny is the Babel syndrome, which is yet another method to globalize desperate disparate people into one entity. This is a future that's prophesizing humankind will be united. Let's see, speaking with one voice, living under one government and one religion, centered in a universal life force. All the tradition of Star Wars and the Tower of Babel, which will ultimately be replaced with the Luciferian religion once the Antichrist takes power. The end time religion will be split into two distinct segments, just as the tribulation is split into two. First, there will be the false religion of Babylon that unites the world. In the last half, it will then be replaced by the Antichrist, who will be revealed to the people as the Messiah. Meanwhile, Lucifer will be unveiled to be an emancipating God of light and knowledge. All this will be an opportunistic venue for the modern Nimrod to wave his fist at God in complete rebellion, to climb the ziggurat of technology and knowledge to wage battle with the oppressive Adonai, just as Nimrod of Babel had threatened to do. Scripture says it, Antichrist, grew in until it reached the hosts of heaven, and it threw some of the starry hosts down to the earth and trampled on them. Verse Daniel 8, chapter 8, verse 10. The world will be led into a galactic war through this alien deception. Disturbing tales from the abduction phenomena echo ancient encounters with fallen angels, demons, and forms of Nephilim. The victims in the abductions are usually paralyzed at the start of the encounter. Aliens are generally described as rough skinned, thin lipped, long necked, viper like beings similar to Nephilim but smaller. Excuse me. Remember, angels possess changeling qualities in our earthly realm. Angels could easily alter their size and appearance at will. All these descriptions, common in most abductions, neatly parallel records of ancient encounters with fallen angels, complete with those fallen angels promising knowledge and power. It must be noted as well, these ancient fallen angels who promised godhood, as witnessed by what took place in Eden with Eve and Adam and Satan. One further wonders, are changelings attempting to create Nephilim hybrids through DNA to skirt around creation's laws? Not only do contemporary alien encounters echo ancient encounters with demons, Nephilim, and fallen angels, but also they reflect a commonality and an inexplicable kinship with fairy folk. According to Eason, author W.Y. Evans Wentz notes the ancients named the inhabitants of the other worlds gods, fallen angels, genies, jinn, let's see, shades, and spirits, which the ancient and modern Celts refer to as gods and fairies. Many of the less benign aliens of today, according to Eason, portray the eerie kinship to the likeness of goblins and gnomes of fairy mythology. Goblins and trolls were described with the eyes like glowing coals, with withered crones. Crones. Only in only in Nordic legends were some fairy folk known to be tall and noble. In most other legends, fairy folk were small beings of mischief and evil. Trolls, goblins, gnomes, and other similar creatures come in many different sizes. They have grotesque, fleshy faces and are very hairy. In the 1954 alien abduction that transpired in Chick Cerro de las Tres Torres, Venezuela, witnesses described the aliens as dwarf like, hairy beings in 1955. In Hopkinsville, Kentucky, five tiny goblin like beings with wrinkled skin and large eyes and ears were witnessed. Most documented accounts describe famous aliens known today as the Greys. Fairies that kidnap children were known as the Grey Neighbors by the Sheetlanders. These fairies were small, gray, goblin, and troll like creatures. These mythological fairies were a Celtic conception to describe small people who can become invisible and who were feared abductors of children. Just read a description of fairy abductions, and many have been taken away by the said spirits for a a fortnight or month together, being carried with them in chariots through the air, over hills and dales, rocks and precipices, till at last they had been found lying in some meadow or mountain, bereaved of their senses. Another encounter from more than 100 years ago, witnessed by David Williams of North Wales, included a brilliant meteor like vehicle that flew and was followed by a ring of fire, small fairy like beings that danced to music. all the while surrounded by brilliant lights. Sounds very much like UFO and alien encounters to me. Alien abductions hold fair familiar kinship with fairy folk and fairy abductions. For example, Cassandra Eason notes fairies have a need to reproduce with humans, ostensibly like aliens. Fairies never abduct old people, only babies, young men, and young women, much like aliens. In familiar fashion, no, in similar fashion to alien abductions, the victim's mind remained blank of what was done and said to them in fairy abductions. Goblins, elves, trolls, and gnomes are known in mythology as being that they are described as greys. They are gray skinned, have huge oval heads, small almond like eyes, and spindly limbs. They are eager to breed with humans to modify and refresh their genetic makeup so that they might continue to survive. Again, this is an eerily accurate description of modern alien descriptions, as well as modern Hollywood creations such as Asgarde from the Stargate series. Janet Board concludes fairy abductions utilize the very same claim stake by aliens today, whereby they need to mate with humans because they need an injection of new genes to bolster their weakened genetic makeup. Gene manipulation through eugenics was the same apostasy endeavored by the Nazis and the New Man Project, as well as the far left movement of liberals, the progressives, though whose doctrines dominated the first 4 decades of the 20th century. The first 4 decades of the 20th century, but died a sudden death after World War II. The fall of Nazism and the rise of communism. Beware of the resurgence of contemporary progressive movements of modern political parties, for progressives are still married to the old doctrine of the new man, the new world order, and Babylon. Remember, too, this is how at least one race of Nephilim was created in ancient times. In fairy lore, fairies possess changeling qualities. As per W.B. Yeats, fairies are not always little and take the size or shape of their choosing. This ability is not a coincidence. Cahill noted the Tuatha Denon devolved in mythology from a race of giants to the little people. Fairies and leprechauns is some form of a euphemism and disguise for their true nature. It is my contention that these modern alien encounters are nothing more than demonic and or angelic encounters crafted to reflect the modern attitudes of humankind as we endeavor to interpret our place in the universe. Although modified for technology and its rapid advancement, they are a finely sculptured, self glorified image of delusion that fallen angels are delivering, deceiving the modern mind through its own aspirations, just as they did with fairies and goblins with our ancestors. The advanced technology of alien encounters, along with all of its other alluring mythos, has been uniquely brewed to deceive contemporary humans. This magical and mysterious deception is an enticing and intoxicating cocktail for the modern mindset, which is designed to lead our world astray, further away from God and Jesus, and into the universal world of Babel and false light, heralded by Eastern religions, New Age, and Masonic fraternities, inclusive of the ultra diabolical Illuminati. Therefore, expect that alien encounters will continue to increase until the momentum dictates a wondrous day when humankind is greeted with the formal first encounter of the fourth kind.